Good morning and welcome to Morning Coach today. I am so glad you're with us. Hey, it's JB. It's November 18, 2024, ready to go. Episode 5519, and we have got a great week planned for you. Before we do, just remember your metaphysical morning ritual. Take some time for self-care. Listen to this CoachCast. Get here as much as you can. 3 or 4 times a week is great. 5 times is even better. You're really rocking it if you can get this every morning. All right? Let's get our 7 P's in place. Let's make sure we have the right perspective. Realize you can make a difference. You can do what you need to do. Set the right priorities today. Let's get some improved performance in everything that we do. Have some patience, some posture. Stay present. And then, of course, persist every day. All right? And then we want to get our planner open, rock that planner, and let's get after it. All right, this week we got a good one. We're going to talk about victim mentality, the loser's limp from football. I'll go over a little bit about what that is, something we call that. And as I used to coach football, we'll translate that a little bit in some cool stuff this week. Tomorrow we got our book study. We've been talking about overthinking, some good techniques to help you with that. Wednesday we've got focus on the restart, the wash, rinse, repeat that I teach. We're going to really get ourselves organized and energized for the new year as we're coming into obviously Thanksgiving and the holiday time. Ask JB, I'm going to talk about how do we stick with it? How do you keep going when the going gets tough and the tough get going? Right? Friday, we got when things are not working, getting through financially. How do we do that? Saturday, of course, Dr. Paul, love him. And then Sunday, we got some discussion on having some energy during the weekend. So really awesome week planned, good energy as always, and just, wonderful, wonderful things happen. And remember to get in the community, check the meetups. If you want to come join one of the wonderful community-led meetups, more than welcome to come. A lot of interesting things going on in those meetups. It'd be great to see you in one of those really cool things happening. So we're starting to finalize the year, right? We're getting organized. We're getting ourselves in a great place. We got the right morning routine. Now it's a matter about just approaching the day with the right perspective and having the right mentality day in and day out. And what we want to talk about is overcoming the victim mentality, or what we used to call the loser's limp. And basically what that is in football, it happens a lot, right? So in football, you're in front of everybody, especially the position I played. So I played corner, which is a cornerback. So I would cover the wide receiver. If you think about a football game, I was on the far outside, and when, they ran down the field, if you got somebody fast, you're all alone out there. Like the whole stadium sees you make the mistakes. And so one of the things that we call is being burnt like toast. Okay, y'all seen burnt toast. And basically being burnt by like toast is when the wide receiver just runs by you, you don't recover, and he just, they also call it being mossed. Randy Moss was this great receiver. But anyways, you just get behind you, and they throw a long pass, they catch it, and they score a touchdown, you got burnt, right? It's a horrible thing. I learned to take rejection at a young age because as a cornerback, you will get burnt. No matter how good you are, you will get burnt. And I'll never forget when I really realized I could play football is when I went to high school, didn't play in college, but my buddy, Manny Olagi, still love him to death, one of my best friends, played at University of Arizona, just a stud. Could have played at any college that he wanted to, had some problems, walked into my gym in Tucson, Arizona, and he was 280 pounds. He said, JB, I want to get back in shape. And I said, all right, started getting back in shape. And this was when I was running gyms, and I was still young then, probably 24, 23. Maybe, 23 or 24 in that age group. And we started training Manny. He was a couple years younger than me, got him in shape. And we got a phone call from this team called Tucson Dogs that Manny wanted to, they wanted him to play. And Manny said, I'm not going to play unless JB comes. And I'm like, I don't want to play football anymore. Man, I haven't played since high school. I was coaching football, and that's what I was going to school to be. But I had went out to Arizona for a break, and I was running gyms out there. And I said, gosh, dang it, all right, I'll play. So I started playing with Cowboy. We call him Cowboy, Manny, and he was a safety, and he was running about 220 and just a machine, and I was on the outside. And the team that we ended up working with was the Rattlers in the Arena League, and there were a lot of kids from the PAC schools, Arizona, Washington, Oregon, really great players. And here I was, a guy that didn't play in college, that just came out of high school and was training Manny, and I was on the outside. And I ended up competing with everybody and winning the starting cornerback job, and I was competing against all these kids from all these big schools, Arizona being one of them, that they were really good back then. And I'll never forget, I was on the corner, and this is when I really got the belief that I could play. And I was going against this guy from Arizona, and he was solid, right? And so I was bumping and running him, getting in his face, and we were in coverage, and he couldn't catch a ball on me all day. And so that's when I really figured, hey, I'm going to play for a little while, and ended up playing a lot of football. And it was really weird because I was one of those guys that just didn't really grow until I was a little bit later, and I still was never that big. I was 5'9", 165 pounds, but I could cover, And so what happens, to take this story all the way back home, sorry to share that with you, but some people like to hear the history. I haven't shared that with many people, but that's how I really got my start in football. But going back to the loser's limp is what happens is when you're out there on the outside and you're playing corner and you get burnt, and like I said, I was pretty good, but I get burnt once in a while. If you didn't have a strong mentality, you would limp. You would limp off like, oh, my leg, I pulled up my leg, I hurt my knee, right? And so it's kind of a loser's limp. You're like, oh, man, he got me because I was hurt. And you're creating this victim mentality. You're creating this like kind of an excuse when the truth is he was just better at that play. And as you do things in life, right, and as you do more things, you get rid of that mentality that, oh, I'm a victim, or, oh, I've got this loser's limp. And you're able to focus on progressive ideas. Okay, what did I learn from that? What happened in that situation, right? Again, it's a self-awareness thing. And you'll see it in high school. If you ever go to athletics, right, you'll see somebody make a bad play or do something, and then all of a sudden they're hurt. They're doing that to really cover up from the fact that they made a mistake. That's a character flaw. It's actually a very great coaching point. And so, when I was a coach and a kid would do that, and they'd get burnt and come over the sidelines, I'd say, are you hurt or injured? If you're injured, then you're out of the game. Like, I need to make sure you're okay. If you're hurt, let's just figure out what happened there, right? And a lot of times I'll be like, are you really hurt, or are you just hurt psychologically and it feels like your ankle got twisted because you just got burned on that play, right? So it's a really great coaching point to build somebody up. But I see it in general society with a lot of people who have gone through things and they allow those things to control them. They allow those things to learn. They lost, and so they make excuses. They lost, so they cry and whine. And we all do it. Look, I'm going to raise my hand. Nobody wants to lose, right? On the golf course, I can tell you that there's always building excuses. Oh, it was windy. It was rainy. Oh, I just didn't have it today. My back was sore. Those are all just excuses. And so what I'm here today is to get you through that, right? I want you to have some tools that when you start getting into that mode, like, oh, it's Monday, I just didn't have the energy, and I made a mistake. No, you just sucked, right? And then we're all going to suck at things. It's like, just acknowledge that and say, okay, how do I get better? You're going to grow as a human being if you get that way. So what are some tools? Okay, so number one, first one, acknowledge responsibility. Recognize that while some things may be outside of your control, how you respond is different. That's the sense of ownership. The best in the world don't win every time. So the way you react is going to tell me a lot about your belief system. I can't remember what book or where we were reading that, but it was like, if you observe yourself, and the way you react to situations is going to tell you your consciousness level. Very deep thing, but if you understand that, you're going to be able to see that, wow, okay, I'm not acknowledging responsibility. I didn't take responsibility for it, and now I'm just allowing that to propel me the other side. And the problem with that is when you don't acknowledge responsibility and you don't take it, you just allow it to fester, right? And you're never able to get out of that situation. And a lot of people are dealing with this. Not, everybody here, MorningCoach, most people that listen are positive and, they're working on themselves, getting their mission and stuff. But man, you go out in society today, and I hate it with our youth, you will just hear a lot of different ideas and thoughts that don't accept responsibility for where somebody is. And they just will never get over that hump. And they're just not empowered. And what's sad is a lot of parents, a lot of society is enabling those people. And I feel bad for them because it's definitely not a place to be. Listen, when you're walking over the sidelines limping, nobody wants to do that. Man, we want to be a champion. And you sit there, oh, I'm hurt, I'm going to sit out the rest of the game. That's like the saddest thing in the world, right? And believe me, I've been there. I've done stupid stuff like that. So acknowledge responsibility. We're in the place where we're at for whatever reason right here. All the problems that I've had in my life, everything that I've done wrong, there's so many things that have gone backwards and so many things have happened. And guess what? I've looked in the mirror and the same person's always showing up, right? You look in the mirror and there he is. That's the person that's been involved in all the good, bad, and the negative. And again, the second thing we want to do is reframe negative thoughts, because a lot of times it's not negative. You get burnt, you learn from it. What happened? Was it an inside move, outside move? Don't let it happen again, right? So practice catching yourself when you think negative, like, wow, this always happens to me. I can't control it. And really reframe it to, what can I learn from this? Or how can I move forward? It will really change the way you live your life. And talk about leading by example. This is what we need more of in the world, right? We want to challenge your limiting beliefs. So often, a lot of times, victim mentality comes from beliefs that keep us feeling powerless, right? So we got to question those beliefs. Are they serving you or are they not serving you? And this can be challenging. It's depending on where you grew up, where you're from. I mean, I go to Colombia, right? So in some areas in Colombia, there is zero opportunity. Like, there's no Ciudad Bolivia, you are not going to be able to come out of there. I mean, very few people do. There are some. And I understand that. I empathize with those people. But the people that do crawl out of that and get themselves in a position to get out of that, they don't have those limiting beliefs. Somebody in their life empowered them to believe that they could get out of Ciudad Bolivia. If you don't believe it, you won't have it happen. So we got to do a better job ourselves just personally doing that. I wish our educational system did a better job of that, but they don't. It's going the opposite direction with that. So we've got to really challenging the beliefs that you have that aren't serving you. I always talk about like 7 years of bad luck when you break a mirror. Why would you do that? Why step on a crack, break your mother's back, right? These are stupid beliefs. Stupid. Why, black cat crosses your path. I have a black cat cross my path every day. Do you think it's bad luck? Hell no. I don't want that damn belief. Change your beliefs, right? It's really important. And I know it's difficult. Look, this is not easy depending on where you come from and what's going on, but this is what we got to do. This is the work we got to do. Focus on gratitude. Identify small things and be grateful for them. We've got it in our planner in the new one. Wake up in the morning and find a few things to be grateful for. One thing I'll tell you is don't do the same things every time. Try to change it up a little bit every day. Set some small goals. Get some momentum. A lot of this has to do with belief and building on the things that you can do. Little goals will lead to bigger goals. You want to learn guitar, learn John Denver's Take Me Home Country Road, learn the G string, learn G chord, learn C chord this month, 2 chords, that's it. Small goals, they'll take you there. Get support, talk to family, friends, or a therapist, right? So when I talk about some of the deeper issues, maybe you've got some deeper issues. And again, I want to preface this, right? When I talk about victim mentality, some people get upset because of that term victim mentality. They say, well, there are true victims. Yes, there are. There are people that have been, I don't even want to go there in the negative, but there are people that have had a lot of bad things happen to them. And I'm acknowledging that. I'm not saying it hasn't happened. There are a lot of people out there that haven't had horrific things happen and are still victims. But there are people that have had horrific things. So in those cases, talk to a therapist. Get an outside perspective, right? My job is to get you stronger. My job is to get you to look and be introspective of why you're saying the things that you're saying. And if you're sitting there and going, JB, but I went through this and it was drastic, right? And I get it, okay? And you're like angry at me for even having this conversation. Then you need to discuss with therapy, okay? A couple other things. We need to have self-compassion. We talk about self-love. That's part of this, or self-care. That's part of this. You have to have really a great feeling of energy. You have to feel good about yourself. Everyone struggles at times. You need to be kind to yourself and avoid feeling things are just happening to you. Approach things constructively. Self-love is the first love. And finally, you want to build resilience. Engage in activities that build like journaling, mindfulness, physical exercise. These practices reinforce the belief that you're strong and capable. I think one of the biggest things for me has been running, obviously, and then the other is the ice bath. The ice bath creates resilience. When you're in there at 42 degrees, used to be 3 minutes, I now do 4. There are days where that's freezing cold. Okay. And I'm at 42. I'm good. I don't think I'll get any lower than that. I don't think get any benefit. But the real benefit, people say, why do you do that? It's the mental strength that I get it, the resilience that it builds. It's that ability to not quit, to sit there and shiver and feel that cold. And between me and you, what it feels like now is when I get in there, I don't like the cold. I hate the cold. That's why I went to Florida. I'm a Florida guy. And when I get in that water, it feels like somebody just put a cold blanket over me. And I love it now. I absolutely love it. I don't know if I can go a day without it. I mean, I just love waking up and doing that cold plunge. It's awesome. So do activities that will help you build resilience. But I want you to get over that loser's limp. We all have it. We all have background issues, and there more will come, guaranteed. And we got to suck it up. We got to find why it's happening and then make the changes accordingly. That will help you live your life, okay? We all have this. Believe me, I get it. Let's try to get stronger. Let's try to get more resilient and work our plan, which we're closing out right now this month so that we can start working on 2025. All right, so let's get out there. Have a great day. You know I love you. Go have a good one, and I'll see you over in the community in morningcoach.com.